Welcome back to pregame.tv. Friday NBA action. We're going to take a look at the Denver Nuggets at the Miami Heat. This is going to be Bryan Leonard's free pick. We'll get to that in a second. As you guys know, last week Bryan and I were in Arizona spring training. I got to tell you, this guy, we were there almost a week. I just got to share one story on the road with Bryan. Saturday morning, he asked me, what do you want to do? I mean, we've been going to ball games every day. I said, you know what? This is your show. Whatever you want to do, we'll do. I only have one request. Now, we had been there. I got there Tuesday. This is Saturday.
You don't take me to your barber.
Well, that too. Well, believe me, the haircut he had, I can't get that style. But my request, and you guys always bust my stones about my eating habits.
Okay.
My request to Bryan was, I don't care when it is, what meal it is, I require that one meal today, we have to use a fork. Because the entire week, all we ate was hot dogs, brats, sausages, sandwich, and chicken wings. I never got to use an utensil all week.
Brats or hot dogs if you had one choice?
I'd go with the brats. But if you ask me, sausage always.
Sausage.
Give me Italian sausage, peppers,
sausage
onions.
Peppers, yeah. That's the East Coast in us. Nathan's hot dogs I love, but I'll go brats over dogs too.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right. Well, the thing is, he wanted to eat with the fork, so I told him I'd take him over to Sweet Tomatoes where they had a salad bar. I figured that'd throw him off.
Sure.
What a guy. What a guy. All right, let's take a look at Denver and Miami. We're taping on Wednesday. Both of these teams have a game Wednesday night, and then they'll be playing on Saturday. The Heat had that little mini losing streak there, but let's face it, they played three good teams. Now, they're back at home. They got a win the other night against Washington. Denver, boy, you talk about the wheels falling off this team. 3-13 in their last 16 games. And the three teams they beat were Milwaukee, the Lakers, and they snuck in a win over Dallas. Dallas must have been in between better teams to sneak that one in there, catch them in a back-to-back or something.
Dallas almost blew that game, too. Remember, that was a late comeback Dallas had to have.
It's what do you think? Denver, I mean, you're going to be looking at a big number here. What do you project?
Well, the good news is, though, for Milwaukee fans, that there is postseason basketball. Of course, that's Wisconsin, Milwaukee. They won the Horizon.
They were picked last place in that conference.
They were pretty impressive stuff there by Coach Jeter, and they took care of business. Once they got Jordan Aaron back, this kid was phenomenal. Got suspended 4 games, the only 4 games they lost in their last 10.
So here we go. We had to hear about the Big Sky Conference here, and now he's throwing in Horizon. I used to be at Cleveland State.
Horizon, a major conference there. You're Mid-American Conference.
Yeah,
that's you.
Yeah, well.
Cleveland State, you're still Horizon.
It's my same general area. I know all the teams pretty well. But, yeah, as our friend Steve Fezzik would say, on to a game that people actually care about.
All right, the Denver Nuggets. Now, he's dissing them, but, again, Ty Lawson is back in the lineup. So a different team. They've won 2 of their last 4. I know 3-13 in their last 16. But a different team when Ty Lawson's on. We saw him against Minnesota. 31 points as soon as he got back.
They're a different team because they made the wise decision of firing their coach last year after losing in the playoffs. And has there been a worse coaching move this year? I mean, this team was set up. They had all the players. They played the great game. It reminds me of the Marty Schottenheimer back in Cleveland. Took the Browns to the playoffs every year. Somehow lost the coin flip in the playoffs.
No, even more so, San Diego firing Marty Schottenheimer after going 14-2.
Yep.
This is a team that the problem with Denver, and now they're on a long road trip right now. They're in the middle part of a 5-game road trip. Defensively, they're horrible. I mean, they've gone 10 straight games where they've given up 100 points or more. 6 of the 10, they've given up 110 or more. You can't win in the NBA playing that kind of defense.
No, you can't unless you can score points. They just haven't scored the same amount of points they had in the past. So.
Miami, though, I'll tell you, they're still not playing that well. They struggled at home with Washington for a lot of that game. They won it by 9, got a cover by a point. But, the 3 losses there, it's funny because Indiana couldn't gain on them. They couldn't gain on Indiana. Nobody wanted to pick up a game in the loss column. They still sit tied there. Indiana finally rebounded with an 11-point win against Boston last night.
Miami blew a golden opportunity because Indiana was in a slump there. And Miami was rolling at the time. And if you notice, they had started to play defense. Miami, let's face it, it's a long season. two-time, defending champs. A lot of times it looked like they were just going through the motions. But whenever they came to play, and the game that I think of the most is LeBron James, the game against Oklahoma City. He played like a man possessed in that game. I think he was tired of hearing all the hype about Durant with the MVP and everything else. And the team was playing their best basketball. And then all of a sudden, the losing streak, while Indiana was losing too, they could have, got back to Indiana. And let's face it, if they get home court, Indiana's not going to pull the upset off. Indiana has to hold them off, I think, to have home court advantage, to have any shot of upending the Heat. And even at that, they're still going to be a long shot.
I wanted to just ask you guys something as far as the NBA, because we know the marijuana situation, especially for Michael Beasley, who's made the transition there to Miami. If he's playing in Denver or, I'm just saying, in Colorado, would any NBA player legally be able to get medicinally cleared to use marijuana?
It was interesting you said that, because in Arizona, you can have the medical card. You can get it, and in the back of the magazines, they all tell you how hard would it be? I mean, I am obviously living in Nevada. I don't have that ability, but
that's why you guys went to Arizona for spring training. I knew it. There's one of the other secrets that hasn't come out yet.
They were giving out, one of the places give out a free cookie when you join their service.
There you go. One of those cookies, huh?
One of those cookies.
Yeah, and for two fat guys, we're really tempted.
You guys, I can see you guys. It's like, wait, I ate the cookies. Now I'm hungry. Can I have some more cookies? Exactly. Hey, give me the Malomars.
Brian, do you actually have anything pertinent to say in your play?
I will once we get to make it official.
Oh,
I don't want to spill all the beans ahead of time.
Do you want anything to say before we let him?
You know what? I would
soapbox.
No, I'll tell you that this Miami team has probably got Indiana right where they want them. That's all I could say.
All right, let's make it official.
All right. All right, as Marco pointed out, this Denver team does not play any defense at all. And as you said, 100 points or more in 10 straight games. Go back even farther. 20 of the last 21 games, they've given up 100 points or more. As of this Wednesday, we're taping on Wednesday, Denver's 1-8 straight up on the road, the only win coming at Milwaukee. This is not a team playing well on the road, not playing any defense. They're in the midst of a 5-game road trip. They just played Orlando, and they have Atlanta up on deck. Do you really think you're going to get your best effort here going against the Miami Heat? And as opposed to Denver being in the middle of a road trip, you've got Miami playing at home for the third game of a 4-night stand, or 4-game stand at home. And as of this taping, they've dropped 3 or 4, as was pointed out. They just have not played that well lately. Now, granted, they played better teams. But when you find Miami this year, when they're not playing well, or they're coming off of an embarrassing game like they did when they lost straight up to Utah, they went out and got on a big, long winning streak here. Wouldn't surprise me if we see that again from Miami here. They've been very good off of those bad performances, and I think Miami's defense is really going to dictate this game. They play very good defense. You take a look at some of the games that Miami struggled on. It's games in which they tried to play the offensive game with the other team. But when they play defense, this is a very good team. And now that Indiana has brought in another center, it's more important than ever for Miami to get the home field advantage here, home court advantage here in the East, because they don't want to have to play 4 games in Indiana, because the one drawback of Miami is they're not big up front. They have a rebounding disadvantage. That's something that Indiana right now, with the 2 big centers in there, have that ability to take advantage of Miami. And so I think this is an important game for Miami, and it's going under the radar. And right now with the tournaments going on in college basketball, a lot of people are paying attention to that. This is the time we can go in the NBA and actually take advantage of some soft lines. We're going to play Miami here. We're going to lay the points.
All right, great stuff.
Marco, last thing I will say, that's a good point, though, with Bynum in that lineup, coming on with 10 rebounds his first game. I mean, I'd never know. That could be a difference maker.
All right. Good stuff from Brian, as always. He says to go ahead and lay the wood with Miami. We're going to come back. We're going to take a look at another Friday night NBA game. We're going to take a look at Brian's former hometown Cleveland Cavaliers as they head to play Golden State. That's up next. Pregame.tv.